Hello, welcome to today's episode of The BIM Student. I'm your host Chetna Chauhan. By now, it's a well-established fact that BIM is a process. If you still have doubts, you must go and listen to all the previous episodes. Well, every process requires a management system. Traditionally, BIM execution planning has looked like managing a few sets of documents in Excel sheets. These documents define the scope and the schedule for models, project requirements, etc. And then there is an additional layer of managing standards, LOD matrices, some appendices and addendums. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about Plannerly, a BIM management platform. Plannerly is a web-based platform that not just replaces your traditional BIM execution plan, but offers much more than that and helps you, the BIM manager, to focus on what you are best at: coordination and management of digital assets and information on your projects. Let's listen to Clive Jordan, co-founder of Plannerly, and understand how the platform is helping to make the process of BIM management better. Clive is a civil engineer turned contractor, architect, and then owner, with BIM plus lean obsession in all roles. As a co-founder in Plannerly, Clive now helps teams simplify the implementation of ISO 19650 standards. Welcome to my podcast, Clive. I'm glad we are able to do this after I don't know how many pre-discussions and back and forth, but I'm glad we're able to sit down and talk about Plannerly, about your journey. Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Same here. Let's dive right into it. I want to know about Plannerly, but from when we didn't know Plannerly was Plannerly, but was Smartly in BIM, or even before that, when I didn't know what plan. So how did it start? How did the concept come to your mind?
Well, tough question to start with. It's a long journey and it's been nearly 20 years in BIM. And I would say it started from when we were defining the original LOD scale. And that was back in the Vico days. And it was, unbeknown to us at that time, creating a bit of a problem for our industry, trying to agree on how to plan, how to manage, how to control design, and how it can be useful, because BIM was doing so much more than just a 2D drawing set. And so back then, a small team of us, we defined this way of managing and this scale of LOD. It became a worldwide standard in some forms. We did not push that in any way. It was more from we need something. So it's been interesting to see how that has come about. But that was the original. 4 team members back from those days got together about 5 years ago now. And we said, we've got to solve this. It's a challenge still, and it hasn't been solved. I had the opportunity just before that to spend 3 years implementing BIM with an owner. And it was really obvious that we needed a solution rather than just a method or an ambiguous or just a guideline or a reference or a specification or a manual. And at the time, we thought it would be a great idea to name the original company after the problem that we were solving, which actually is not a good idea, as we come to find out. It's like, as one of our users said, it's like calling a dentist's root canal surgery. You don't really want to go to a dentist that is called root canal surgery. So
healthy smiles is one I would go to.
Yeah, happy smiles, healthy smiles. I like that better. Yes, we created the solution to that problem, but since then it has been expanded on. It's gone from 1 module to now 6 modules, and they encompass the whole BIM management workflow, and hence why the name Plannerly. So don't plan late, but plan early, the subtle play on the name. And we still use the trademark Smart Lean BIM. It's still part of our ethos and our whole mantra of doing the right BIM at the right time, by the right people, for the right reasons. That's still part of our ethos. But yeah, that's been a journey over that time, and man, I could talk about that a lot. But yeah, is there something specific that I should dig into?
I think also I want to know, just from the conceptual purpose, we know all the stuff that we do for owners. You worked as a BIM consultant. I'm working as a BIM consultant. Do you think Plannerly was something that was catered for owners, or it was for us BIM consultants?
It's focused on solving the challenge that we face in our industry, which is just silo-based teams and information and project management solutions that just generally would focus focus on one piece.
Mm-hmm.
We've tackled we call it the administration burden, which usually falls in one silo and then doesn't get translated. And we talk about golden thread and exciting things like that, and digital twins. But without defining it, you're really planning it, agreeing on it, carrying it out, managing it, controlling it, and delivering it. All of those, verifying you're getting what you said, then none of these things are going to come out the other end. So our focus was more of a horizontal. What do we do to integrate the workflow, make it easier, simple, fun, and rather than just trying to solve a BIM manager's problems alone, we kind of said, let's try and tackle a few more of those. So owners say, we love Planoly because it allows us to define our exact requirement. And that's from an owner's perspective. Right. But downstream, it also means the BIM manager, if they're helping an owner, they can get on board earlier. If teams are also using Planoly to track and manage and control that, then they can use the same inputs from the owner if they're using Planoly as well. So there's kind of this opportunity to either get in on one place as a BIM manager and define maybe a scope more clearly, or use it to expedite the BIM execution planning process and take away the administration burden, just make that much quicker. And that's why we made it modular as well. It sounds like now more about Planoly. I want to talk about BIM management, but I also love talking about Planoly. The principle,
yes.
The principle was that we made it into small modules that you could just switch on one of them at a time. And that would be solving some problems as soon as you're ready, or if some projects don't need it, but you can switch on other modules and they are integrated. So a task inside of the scope, for example, can be just dragged and dropped to give a timeline on the schedule, can be dragged and dropped on the track page for the Kanban board and updating progress, and can be linked to model deliverables at the end of the day. So there's this opportunity to do as much or as little as you need.
Right. What I like most about being a BIM professional is it has brought me closer to my husband. I'll tell you why. I come from an architectural background. So I've come from a background where, my ideals are Zaha Hadid and the Charles Correas of the world. Charles Correa is a very, very celebrated architect in India. And I was like always this person who is just thinking about design, whereas my husband comes from a business analysis background. And I would not understand what is he doing. I would not understand his work. I just knew that he did something for a bank and an IT sector, and that's it. But when I started on this whole BIM management path, it just clicked. Oh my God, this is what he's doing, because exactly what we do in BIM is what he does in banking. Whatever we do in construction is what he's doing in banking. We're the mediators between the owners, the business, and the actual process. And then, when I looked at Planoly recently, I did look at it in its initial years, but then I was too concentrated on doing my Word BIM execution plan. And I was like, okay, I don't think I need this. But then when recently I looked at it, it made so much sense that, it helps me focus, that when I have my first meeting with the client, I have to talk about what exactly do you need out of your BIM model. And this is the framework that we are talking about. I mean, they can say about 20,000 things, but let's come down to your plan, scope, your verification, how are we looking at the standards, all of that stuff. So yes, the platform does help people like me a lot to focus and drive the conversations in the right way, especially when we're having our meetings, especially when we're writing the requirements. And coming to the requirements, I want to focus a little bit on the ISO modules that you have. Is there a specific reason, other than ISO being the popular standard coming up, originating from PAS 1192, and other than that, is there a specific reason that you incorporated ISO 19650 templates in your platform?
We just want to make it easier. And there were a couple of points. Your story about you and your husband getting closer together because of BIM and you understanding that more is really cool. So I love sharing my little story. I came back after landing a great job in the BIM world, and I shared with my wife. I said, this must be the most unique opportunity ever in this space. And I kept going through and after my spiel, she said, Clive, you can't say most and unique together. It just by definition, if you say so. She obviously was very pleased, and I expected her to be like, oh, that's wonderful, but it was that. And I love as you start to get an understanding of different disciplines and the way that process and management, and so project management, when you talk to your husband, that really makes you more and more powerful in your role. That's what BIM managers are doing inside of companies today, is that they're not just doing one small piece of the puzzle. They're actually involved in so many other departments, disciplines. A BIM manager people are dependent on them for quantities, for estimating, which drives potentially down the profit line, the bottom line for a company. That sort of thing is instrumental. And so you have this opportunity to go from either architecture or some kind of design or some kind of technical role and sort of construction, bring that together, become this BIM manager that's focal point, this very instrumental role inside of organizations, the go-to person for technology, the go-to person for process, the go-to person for quantities, for understanding fly through. Say again? For standards. So you mentioned the ISO 19650 standards and putting them in as templates inside of the platform. We love taking credit for things that we've done. This is actually a community effort. There's been about 200 companies that are defining and developing these templates. We provide the platform for free so that people can develop them and then do more on them and continue to develop them. And actually they are being translated in lots of other languages as well now. So we have many different languages that are available. If you want your OIR, your EIR, your PIR, your AIR, all of these wonderful 3-letter acronyms, if you're following the ISO 19650 standards, then they are there and they're out of the box, and we support the workflow. However, I would also say we're not biased in any way. We support all historical BIM standards as well. So if you are using simply the Penn State BIM execution plan and the BIM forum LODs, then that is also just as a setting, clicking inside of the project standards. You can choose that inside of the platform. So yeah, we're kind of very neutral, but we do have a leaning towards anything that makes it easier for our users. And that's where ISO 19650 comes in, at understanding how to create a tender, go through the tender process, understand how you're actually assigning what needs to happen, when it needs to happen, tied to a purpose, following level of information need. All of that stuff is really super important to us. So as you could probably tell from the way I get too excited whenever somebody mentions ISO 19650. So, yeah.
Right. And you know what? The energy you're exuberating when you're talking about ISO and when you're talking about Plannerly, it is actually very infectious. I'm just feeling like while you're talking, my fingers are itching to scroll onto my browser where I have Plannerly open right now. So the first one was scope, but then plans, schedule, contract, then schedule, then track and verify. So is it did this come from experience working all these years that this is the process that we need to follow? How did you come up with these schedules one after the other? Is it just out of the box project management software?
So startups, they talk about startups pivoting, and you have to pivot every day as many times as you can.
Right.
And the more you pivot, the more you go in the right direction. You imagine a startup that gets a bunch of cash and sets off on the road, but they're a couple of degrees off of the center of this straight road, and they head down that road so quickly that soon they fall off, they come off the road. And the principle behind that is that we have tried our best, listen to the customer always. Listen to the world around us as a guide. So instead of just taking the next BIM term and calling the module the BEP module, we call it the plan module because it might be a project execution plan or a BIM execution plan or a project information requirements document. It doesn't matter what it is. So we sort of combine all of that. We have a customer advisory board. We have a lighthouse program with big customers. We have an ideas board, which is available online for people to vote on ideas and they surface to the top. We have a chat, constant communication inside of the app and on our website. And we love listening to what's going on and what's good, bad, indifferent on the platform and in the world of BIM, because we think that it should be simple. And so your question was, how does it come about, those modules? It started with solving the problem for scoping and saying, we need a way of defining who needs to do what, when it needs to happen, what the purpose is, what the status of that item is, and kind of wrap it all into the scope. But you start to understand you want to see that in different ways. So seeing it in a Gantt chart, a bar chart view, that's what brought about the schedules view. Being very lean orientated, we wanted to have a way of printing pull planning cards, and that's what happens, and using the Kanban board in the track view. And the principle was, let's not name these as abstract modules or products. Let's call it what it is. And so in the scope, you don't do LOD planning, or you don't do level of information need planning, or anything. You're basically planning a project scope. And that could be a task to set up. It could be appointing the information manager. It could be defining a certificate that's required at a certain point in the project, whether it's fire or life safety, anything like that. It could be a model element that is built, and it needs to be the risers before the main runs, which happen later, and they need to be separate, and these need to be in this color in this model platform. If that's what you need to define and you want to define it, that's all scope. So we just called it scope. So yeah, the set of modules started with scope. We got told by our users, hey, you've got most of the things that we need for a BIM execution planning workflow. Why haven't you got the actual BIM execution plan? So we added the plan module and then the need to verify. Do you have a deliverable? Okay, I need to make sure that that's tied back to the original requirements, and I need to have a way of checking off and visually seeing that model as it changes so that we can verify you've met those obligations.
Okay, so everything is web-based right now, right?
Yep.
Can we plug Plannerly right into my favorite BIM authoring tool?
So today, the way that happens is through an output from Plannerly, and that can be used as your shared parameters input, or for example, inside of needing to be an XML inside of ArchiCAD, for example. But that's the way that we are doing that today. We are working on a completely open API. We obviously have an API that we use, but defining that when you are working on so much of the other puzzle has been a challenge. So now we feel very rounded out in those 6 modules, and there's a lot of integration that we are working on that's pretty exciting for us, and I can share more. But
yeah, so no, I am waiting for that, and I would like you to elaborate that when we talk about Rosebud and Thorn. We will talk about this. Let's talk about the BIM management process. I know you said that this whole idea came about when you started helping a client streamline their BIM requirements and help them on a project. For you, why do I need to and then it's not me, but why does somebody, we use our Words and Excels and we still do, even after Plannerly, we do use them.
Yep.
Why would somebody switch to Plannerly if they are using all these project management tools, and they're using P6, Primavera, all of those tools? Why do we need to use Plannerly?
Great question. And you can do everything that you do inside of Plannerly in independent tools, and then do import and export and manage the data. If you would compare each piece to the Plannerly modules, in Word, it's very unstructured. It's a lot of text, and there's not really a process to go through for approving. What we have inside of Plannerly are sections and categories that can go through an approval process inside of their own. And there's also the ability to have multiple documents, multiple resources inside of the same project with security over them. So instead of where you have a Word document, which is very unsecure, the only way to secure it really is to then send it as a PDF through another medium. We allow you to actually bring people in to review only the content that's ready, and to go through a very much more lean and piecemeal review and process, and following the ISO 19650 workflow of work in progress, shared and published, and having control over who sees what at what point in time. So that, if it's a direct comparison to Word, we're not trying to replace Word, we're trying to be much more structured and repeatable, and then everything you've created can be used as templates and just simply dragged and dropped into future projects. And if I went through all the modules, I could do that, it might take some time, but the principle is each one of these is then integrated, and it's also built with your templates and your previous project's history, so that it improves and removes the administration burden for creating from your projects for future. The one thing inside of Excel is you have so much flexibility inside of Excel, which is fantastic. They say that 82% of Excel spreadsheets have errors in them, and lots of people talk about databases that are needed to replace. Hey, you're not going to replace Excel. Excel is the BIM manager's tool to communicate in so many different ways. Project management, what would you do without Excel? It's a fantastic tool. And we're also using Sheets, for example, takes it to another level in certain ways. So there's fantastic utility in that. But the scope module is defined specifically for the AEC teams. It has a library of systems, elements, classifications, uniformat, uniclass, master format, all of those built in. And then you simply just drag and drop to create your project from those templates and also your history. And the principle behind that, as soon as you create a task on the scope grid, it's then available throughout the rest of the modules to make and tied to your models or BIM 360 or the Autodesk Construction Cloud if you're then wanting to verify the output, the deliverable. So that principle is we just make it super easy to connect the workflow and designed specifically for management of projects that are using an advanced level of design and construction.
Okay, I am understanding that. And you know what? Because there is a schedule tool in there, somebody like me who would take like months to learn Primavera, I would just do a timeline right inside of the Plannerly. It's like really no brainer. I think in a couple of years, my son can do it. It's going to be so easy.
We do user testing on our children as well. So that's actually a really big, and it's so amazing. We try and make things so simple that you don't need any training. That's our goal. And every time something comes up, whether it's through the chat in the app or whether it's through interaction with customers, we try to make sure that that question doesn't come up again and we fix it, root cause analysis, fix it in the software. And so it's really interesting to get different people's views. Having my children sit in front and create projects and go through the process of understanding how to build it, it brings up other things that you haven't even thought about. We bring in people that are not even in the industry, that don't do BIM, and the ideas that we get from that are really incredible, and they make it easier for other people that are just coming into BIM to learn and start creating. And that's why we talk about templates. That's why the templates, and as somebody said, Chris, guy at Contractor, he said, Plannerly is like having a tool and a process together and having like that expert BIM guy sitting on your shoulder. And I love the comment. It just makes it, that's what we're trying to make it easier for everyone, because BIM managers have such a tough task. We don't want them to have to, change the world without some help and cutting through all of the confusion, making it clear and simple, deliver it online. All of that makes it easier for them. Yeah, because they have so much other work that is important that they need to do.
Also, I feel most people on a construction site, if you have to coordinate with them, they are not, the most skilled people are not very highly educated. But everybody can use a smartphone these days. Everybody can use simple browser applications. So somebody on site who's skilled can go through a browser and just look at something visually. What really attracted me to Plannerly was that I could look at so for example, a receptacle is known as a different name back in India. It is called something different here in Canada. I'm pretty sure it's called something different in Europe. But when I look at the picture, I know what it is, and I know how much modeling or how much data needs to be done in that, which is so powerful. I mean, you're ahead of the curve right now, but when I did my first BIM execution plan and I was writing all this LOD matrix, I was like, can we not just copy and paste a picture of a conduit here and say, because sometimes like Canada is a place of internationally trained people from all over the world. And sometimes some really, really talented people do not understand the local vocabulary. So if they can just see the picture and see that this is what it means, they will be able to work on the project. So when I saw that in Plannerly, I was like, man, somebody read my mind.
They say a picture is 1,000 words. And if you put thousands of pictures on a page, the amount that you can convey is amazing. And you rightly said, when people use different terms to talk about the same thing and completely cross wires, that miscommunication is the biggest plaguing rework, etc., inside of our industry. So if we can communicate much more clearly, then we can get more done. There's less rework, etc. Your comment there sparked something in my head as well. I had one of the executives in the companies, it was a construction, but they had some design aspects. This guy was very much on the design side, but hadn't got a handle on some of the pieces of some of the like HVAC, and it wasn't, we didn't talk like too much detail, but he said, the quote was, when I saw this, I understood what BIM was and what it could do for our company. Like that was the connection between the early planning, early scoping of detailed requirements to what the model could be for them and what they could then deliver to the contractor or it's inside their own company. That was an incredible kind of light bulb moment. That miscommunication is, So I'm British, my accent has changed since I left London a long time ago, but for that I apologize. But when I first was in the US, I was in Miami and I went to a golf course and I tried to just as I would do say, can I what do I say? Could I book a buggy? And it was lost because obviously I was supposed to be saying, oh, can I hire a buggy? And they said after 5 minutes of back and forth, it was, oh, you want to rent a cart? And for me, I was saying the same words and but even describing it doing this, but that miscommunication is just a delay. For me, it's fine to have 5 minutes delay in conversation like that because it's quite fun. But if you do that in design construction, it could be an immense amount of additional cost and time, and also safety. That's a big deal as well, the miscommunication.
Yeah. And I think you're from London and you're right now in US. I have been for first 28 years of my life, I've been in India and I'm here now in Canada. Like North America has a different, like my friends back in India say my English has changed. Like I don't have the Indian English anymore. And a lot of words from the UK English, the English has influence on Indian English. Now, when I talk to them, they're like, man, you sound so Canadian. You don't sound Indian. And I'm telling you, the struggle that you're saying, people disowning you, that, oh, you've left your culture. I get that, man.
Everyone has an accent. I think the beautiful thing that happens at the moment is that everyone's traveling more, well, apart from recently, but being able to be in different places and experience different cultures and experience different accents. Trouble is, you tend to fit in, that's what you're psychologically programmed to do, I suppose.
Right. And you know, how much ever I try to teach my kids my native language, they still have an English accent to my native language. So there are words like syllables that they cannot just pronounce. And that's again, okay, we're going way beyond BIM management and way beyond Plannerly. I'm so enjoying this conversation, immigrant to immigrant.
There you go. Yeah.
But let's move on to our next section, which is the impossible questionnaire. I'm going to ask you 2 questions. For most of my Canadian guests, it is very much Canadian context. Okay. For you, I'm going to lift off that burden. It's going to be very global context questions. They will not be general knowledge questions, though. They will be very, very industry specific.
I'm just scared by the title.
Okay, that's fine. Now, my first question is, what are GFCIs in construction?
GFCIs.
Or to be more specific, in MEP.
In MEP. Do I get some multiple choice options?
No.
I love TLAs, or in this case, 4-letter acronyms, and as in, I love them with a vengeance. I think that in our industry, we're not like the military that actually have such a concise way of describing things, otherwise somebody's going to die. I think that we should use plain language and describe exactly what we are needing rather than having 3-letter, 4-letter acronyms.
So that can't be my answer. You don't know. GFCI.
Is it something about grommets? that's in MEP.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you the answer. The GFCIs are ground fault circuit interrupters.
Cool,
also known as GFCIs. They can trip in 1/40th of the second when it comes to like a safety hazard, like a fluctuation and this is especially used in commercial kitchens and washrooms.
Gotcha. Okay. A ground fault circuit interrupter.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay.
I'm going to use that for our weekly trivia. We have a family trivia. I'm going to use that and see whether we can get some answers.
And they are also required on some exterior locations where you cannot just go and turn off the circuit. This is that GFCI. Okay. My next question is if you would have listened to prior podcast, you would know this, but this is a repeat question. So which pipe fitting may not be used in a vertical drainage system? So I'm going to give you a multiple choice here. So first of all, imagine a vertical drainage system. Okay.
Yep.
Now these are 4 fittings. One of them cannot be used or may not be used. So it is a cross fitting, it's a Y fitting, it's a double Y fitting, and it's a double waist fitting.
Cross Y, double Y. Sounds like it should be something along the Y. Well, it's going to be a guess. Let's go for I don't know. Let's go for the double Y.
Pick one. There's no negative mark.
Double Y. The double Y. No, I should say B. It's the Y fitting. Yeah.
No, it's the cross.
Yeah,
See, because why you can still have.
Oh my word! I was just trying to overthink that. The cross fitting. Of course, you're not going to use that in a vertical drainage system. I'm a civil engineer. I should have got that one. I feel embarrassed. You can cut that whole thing out, can't you? Please, please, please.
No, that's okay. I mean,
I'll get now an email from my university professor probably saying they're going to remove my master's degree just because of that.
Because you don't know a fitting. Listen, I'm going to be completely honest here. If me and my team would not have put in the work that we have, I would not have known the answers to these questions. So some of these questions, they just pop out. Oh, like last week there were 50 questions in there. There are 20 more. So, I tell this to my team all the time that whenever you find a tricky question, just put it in this.
Put it in. I love it.
Okay, so we are done with the impossible questionnaire, and it's time to round up our discussion today. I mean, I'm really, really enjoying, but I want to know before you go, the rose, bud, and thorn. And in this part, we really talk about the benefits of the today as rose, bud, what is in future, what are we looking at, and entirely in terms of BIM management with Plannerly, and thorn. So you have to give me your rose, your bud, and your thorn.
So the rose, in far as what's good, I think just lots going on that is related to the advancement of better information management and standards and everything kind of coming together with more increased education. So lots of BIM management programs around the world. This movement, this momentum, that's what I would say is the rose, benefit or hope for tomorrow. That we can simplify and streamline and integrate a lot more in our design and construction industry. So there's a real opportunity with technology. Our industry doesn't run towards technology adoption. They do run towards more simple and more streamlined and more integrated if it's more simple. So this kind of simplifying, I think, is the opportunity. I think that's the possibility
for tomorrow.
Yep.
And thorn.
Thorn is the challenges that we're having. Challenges. There's so many ways of doing BIM, and there are so many different options when it comes to standards around the world. And I think that's still a challenge in that these standards are developing and improving, and any change when it comes to standards is difficult for an industry that doesn't love change anyway and has already gone through this change to try and adopt BIM. So yeah, that's a challenge. That's how do we solve this? And again, tying it back to the bud is how do we solve it? I think it's making it more simple, keeping things as simple as possible.
Right. A lot of times you resonated with most of my guests. Their thorn is also a prospective bud. So if there is a challenge, there is a hope. I'm somebody who loves BIM management because it really keeps me on toes, because every day there is something new that I have to solve. If I cannot solve or I cannot deal with something new every day, I would be bored out of my life.
That's a great part of BIM management. And every time we can promote and support new teams coming into BIM management, coming into technology for design and construction, man, we are doing it. We absolutely have a need for it, and there's the lack of resources. I see this so much at the moment where they're just calling out for more and more people to be able to manage this. The hope is that we start to upskill more and more of the existing workforce that we have. Yeah, we're also losing a lot of really strong talent in many different parts of that as well. Yeah, whether they are retiring or whether they are just getting despondent with what's happening in certain adoption and lack of. So anything we can promote would be.
Yes. So can I give you my bud for Plannerly?
Yes, absolutely. I would love to hear.
I would actually want someday to see that I could plug in a module of Plannerly into the BIM software that I'm using. So maybe the planning, maybe the verification that when I'm working on a model real time, I do have a plan or a verify module right where my properties panel is, and I can go and check. That will be my bud for Plannerly, and I really wish you and your team the best. You guys are doing an amazing job. That comes from my heart. You guys are doing a really good job.
Thank you so much. And you might see that. Actually, if you want to see the designs for exactly what you just described, let's also talk after this.
Sure. And just to round up, I said that before, but how do we get Plannerly?
Just go on to plannerly.com and you can join for free. There's now an extended free version. Over the last week or so, we've actually added more free features. So you can get in and create as many projects as you like, invite as many viewers as you like, and create as much now content as you like inside of the plan module and the scope as well, and use that and see that. And if you would like to learn more, then just jump on a call with one of our team in the website, or in the am I pointing the right direction? In the right hand bottom corner, there's a little chat bubble. We love hearing from users, whether it's good, bad. Some feedback is great. And if you want to meet with us one-on-one, then we put 30 minutes on the calendar with you at any point in time. And we've got people around the world that will hopefully be in your time zone to be able to make sure that it fits.
Sure. And I'm going to put a link in the description of this podcast, so anybody who's interested can also find the link in the description to know what Plannerly is all about. Thank you so much for your time again, Clive. I'm glad you were here and we were able to do it.
Thank you so much. I've really, really enjoyed it. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Take care and have a good one.